First, thank you for joining us, taking the time today to talk. My first question is, can you introduce yourself? What should people know about you?
Christina Fugazi, lifelong resident. My family has been in this area since the mid-1800s. So there's now 7 generations. I'm the 5th generation. High school educator. Right now I am an assistant principal, but I have spent nearly 30 years being with high school students, Stockton students in particular.
And what made you want to run for mayor?
I would say that there are many reasons running for mayor. I have said no many times when people have asked me to run for mayor, but it wasn't until the current mayor, Mayor Lincoln, decided that he was going to run for Congress that I said, well, now's my opportunity. Because, like I said, I'm almost at 30 years, so in education, 30 years is the magic number. Also, I feel like I have the political skill, I have the knowledge, I know the history. I'm definitely have kept up with all of the issues, all of the policies, and I think that of the people, for the people, by the people has been my motto, along with show up, stand up, speak up. So why not me?
And we'll dive into some of those issues now. What would be the top issue for you and why?
I would say public safety has to be first. I know people are concerned about homeless, but the first thing is keeping you safe, keeping me safe, keeping our children safe. That is the top priority.
And that's a segue to my next question. A top concern for many voters is crime. How would you use the somewhat limited authority of the mayor's office to make any changes when it comes to crime in the city?
Well, first off, we have Measure A and Measure B. Now, I told people a long time ago I voted no on Measure A, but I voted yes on Measure B because I was concerned about oversight of those funds. While I'm absolutely in support of having more officers, and in fact, Anthony Baraga, Dr. Baraga, Harvard University, came to Stockton and analyzed our situation. He said at a minimum we needed 2 officers per 1,000 residents, but he said optimal would be 3 officers per 1,000 residents. We're not anywhere close to that, so Measure A was saying we would hire an additional 120 officers to get us to 485 officers. Well, we just dipped down to where we were at bankruptcy levels, which was 346 officers, yet we're still taxing the public. And we don't have those officers, which is why the chief said we were going to Code Blue. And I felt that that was kind of like a free pass for people doing low-level crimes to get away with it. And here's the bottom line for me. Our officers have a tough job, but we need to enforce the law. Period. End of sentence. Once they've cited, arrested, whatever, I realize that they come out relatively quickly from the jail system. Then it's up to the district attorney to prosecute. But we can't just let people get away with committing crimes because it escalates. It might be, I stole something for $5. Now I tried and stole something for $50. And then it just goes up and up and up, and now we have all these smash and grabs that happen all throughout the valley. I mean, it's an epidemic, the amount of theft that we're facing.
And on a similar page to that, police in Stockton have been stretched thin, of course, dealing with staffing shortage. How would you work with council colleagues, city manager, or the police unions to recruit more officers and then make Stockton PD a department where people want to work?
One of the issues that we have is that we're the training ground. Stockton is the training ground for officers who go on to other agencies. Lodi's fully staffed, Lathrop's fully staffed, Tracy's fully staffed. The sheriff's department, I think, is they have 1 vacancy maybe there, but Stockton has 140 vacancies. That's ridiculous for a city of our size. So why is that? We really need to take a deep dive. Is it because of salary? Is it because of add-ons, bonuses, incentives? What is the reason? And then we need to take steps to make sure that we eliminate the reason as to why we can't retain and recruit officers. I also believe, going back to Measure A, So it's supposed to be 65% of that measure is supposed to go to law enforcement, going to public safety. Well, when we get, let's say, $40 million from Measure A sales tax, we should be able to take 65% of that. When the state sends it to us, 65% of that right off the top goes into a fund that is specifically for public safety. Now they say, well, it's a general fund tax. I say baloney. Yes, it is a general fund tax, but we need to make sure that that money is going to where we promised, where the council, city hall promised the public that that's where that money is going to go. So it goes right into that fund, and then we can make sure that it's tracked, it's audited, and it goes where it's supposed to.
And switching gears a little bit now to the homeless issue, as you're well aware, when you were on council, the city spends millions of dollars to address that each year. Is there anything that you think the city is not doing, or anything that you would like to see change in that area?
Well, part of the issue has to deal with us and our partnerships with other governments. And when I mean other government, like the Board of Supervisors. So Senate Bill 43 was passed. Senate Bill 43 has to do with providing mental health services and substance abuse services for those who are unable to truly make the decision that's best for them. So making sure that we have enough beds. So the county has decided to defer that for 2 years so that they can create more beds. So that has to be one of the things that we need to fast track in order to get people off the street. The other thing is we need more housing for those that don't fall into one of those categories. Or we need to make sure that the people that we have here, if they're from here, making sure that you know, maybe they get reunited with their family. Or those that are not from here, that they get reunited with their family. There was a gentleman, I don't know if you remember him, I think his name was Carlos, and he used to shuffle downtown. He was a homeless man, and his family had been looking for him for a really long time. And there was a story done on him, and guess what? He got reunited with his family, he got off the streets, he's living with them, he's doing well. Now that happened about 5 years ago, but think about the number of people that are on our streets who have loved ones looking for them. So we have to make inroads in building that trust with them in order to really find out what the underlying issues are.
And making another turn here now to quality of life, a city survey that was conducted back in 2023, it found 70% of people felt an excellent or fair quality of life here in Stockton. Is that 70%, that number okay to you? And if not, how would you like to see that change?
I'm actually surprised at that number. That makes me optimistic because we can often be our own worst enemy, the residents of Stockton. And I get complaints all the time, and going back to that potholes, people say, oh, potholes. But if you've ever hit a pothole, and there are potholes in the city, trees have been not maintained, parks have not been maintained. We have nearly $1 billion in deferred maintenance in this city. That directly affects people's quality of life, along with public safety, homeless, things of that nature. What's great about local government is you can feel and see government at work. Libraries don't generate revenue. Parks don't generate revenue. But yet, families want to be able to go to both of those locations and be able to enjoy what they have to offer. So I would say, like I said, I'm really surprised at that number. That makes me happy to hear that number. And I guess I would say the people who are thinking negatively about the city are often the ones that we hear from the most.
Yeah. And while we've talked about quite a few issues here, there are many others that are facing the city as well. As mayor, what would be kind of your short list of top priorities?
Well, as I said, obviously, making sure that public safety is a focus. And all of these things that we're talking about have been on the council list of priorities, but we've never gotten there. And what I mean by that is at some point we have to say, hey, I'm gonna try this. We have the funds, let's try this. I don't think the public would be mad at us for doing a pilot program. But I would say under my list of priorities is making sure all of our departments are fully staffed. We have an issue with retention throughout the city, not just when it comes to public safety. So if we don't have enough people to do the job of the city, then we have to put it out to bid for an outside contractor to come in. I would rather have our employees here in the city of Stockton do that work. The other thing I'm looking at is making sure that our boards and commissions are represented. We have actually a commission that was formed when I was on council, social justice, equity, inclusion. We need to make sure that that is up and running as well, because everybody deserves a seat at the table. And we have, as you know, one of the most diverse cities in the nation. But if you look at government, it's not really reflective of our community. You look at the police department, it's not really reflective of our community. So then there's a lack of trust. So building that trust, making sure that the books are wide open for the public to look at, to make sure that we're communicating with the public in multiple languages so that they feel that they're part of the solution and part of the process. So those are some of the things that I would want to start off right off the bat with is community engagement and definitely involvement.
And you mentioned some of your history there, being on council before. You're a pretty familiar face among voters, especially in this race. Has it always been the plan to run for mayor and this year, and why now?
No, it has never been my plan. Actually, it was never my plan to run for office. And just to segue, I had 8 years on Planning Commission because a council member who was running for office knocked on my door. And when they knocked on my door, I said, hey, whatever you need, let me know. Well, they won the election, and then they came back and said, hey, I'm looking for a planning commissioner. And I said, a what? It happened to be Susan Eggman, who's now Senator Eggman. She appointed me as a planning commissioner, and as I went through that process, I learned an incredible amount of how government truly works. Most people don't understand really the nuances of it. But taking that from there, and then when she was elected to Assembly, she encouraged me to go for her vacant seat. I didn't get the appointment, but people encouraged me to then run for the seat. I was elected twice for that seat. And I would say that why now is because there's an opportunity. Usually you're running against an incumbent. That is not easy to do. Not that I was afraid, but I will tell you that there are two people on this earth that I'm afraid of, and that's my mother and father, because I respect and love them so much. And I will tell you, my mother said with prior races, no, 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 you are not running for mayor. And I said, okay, so this time, it was actually my birthday and we had dinner, and I said, you know, and I brought it up and I said, what do you guys think? And my dad said, go for it. And my mom said, okay, you know, she's like, but remember, always take the high road because there's no traffic jams on the high road.
You got the information. I like that.
Yes.
Final question, why should people vote for you?
Like I alluded to earlier, I would say people should vote for me because I do have that experience. I am a hard worker. I do get involved. I roll up my sleeves. I don't just want to talk about issues. I want to do the job. I want to make sure that people, as I said earlier, have a seat at the table. I have the political skills. I have been chair of regional rail. I've been on the board for the Air Pollution Control District. I've chaired different councils and committees, council committees, excuse me. But I would say that I have the experience, I have the drive, I have the ability to build bridges. I've already got bridges that are well established with other elected officials. And yeah, I think I'm the right person for the job.